Aragon community, you may have met him. He floats around. Has been working on basically a simple crowd sale kind of thing where you would offer a certain number of tokens at a certain rate, and anybody could buy them at that rate until they're gone. So much more like a kind of traditional like offering. I think that would be really useful, and we've definitely had people kind of asking for that functionality. It's not on the like immediate roadmap for OneHive, but the app is actually relative, like much simpler than this. And so like you might be able to use what Aaron's working on, or like the other alternative, just kind of build like a simple implementation, and then register it for the app mining program, which is going on. So like it seems like it's a pretty popular, like in-demand kind of feature, and the first person that that builds it and gets people to use it will actually like be eligible for the like app mining rewards and get kind of paid out.
Okay, good. Luke, if you don't mind, yes, we have one question from Evgeny Turvinenko. He has raised up his hand. Like, yes,
hello.
Evgeny.
Yeah. Look, my name is G. So I have a proposal for everybody. Well, probably we could make a special event that describes all of this mechanism for fundraising, because all of us know that ICO is dead, IO is dead, and IO actually was like for these greedy bastards from exchanges. So people still looking for fundraising, still looking for their any way to have raise fund from people. So probably we could promote for our community as well, or make test crowd sale for our community, and it would be useful for everybody. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely demand for fundraising in general. I think that there's like two sides to this, and I don't know what the situation is kind of in Russia with regard to regulations and kind of like securities law. I'm based in New York,
so in Russia it's still in the gray zone, so it's okay to make it here, but we are not connected to some jurisdiction like Russia, so we could make it in virtual life, so in virtual space.
Of course, it will be interesting to connect it to Aragon court somehow, if possible. Like we say, we use Aragon court jurisdiction.
Yeah. I mean, the Aragon court as like a jurisdiction can definitely help with dispute resolution, but it doesn't necessarily like it doesn't preclude you from being like falling under the jurisdiction of some other entity, depending on what you're doing, right?
Yeah, sure, but we don't push anybody to make it, but we just show the instrument that that's an issue in our world, because people don't know about it. So I think to make a special event, it's a great idea. I think Sergey will manage all of this, and if we can do it, it would be great for all the community, for Aragón as well, for our community as well.
Yes, we can do it, and so we now collaborate UniDAO with DAO CIO, and UniDAO plans to have a DAO talk in the end of this March, of this month, and I think we can collaboratively organize such international event where we invite people from promising DAO and platforms, and we dedicate a big part of it for DAO fundraising. But also, of course, quite interesting to see the proper functionality, because now basically there are two mechanisms for DAO for fundraising. One is fundraising app, and another is token request. And here now I see the third one is marketplace. So with fundraising, a little bit is I think there are two things which can be changed, edited a little bit. One is bonding curve is not always needed. Sometimes you need to sell tokens just for fixed price, and another maybe token cons can have a pre-mine. Just 1 minute. And you can see also that by PIADAO example, that they fundraised quite successfully through token request function. But in token request, you can request any amount of tokens. So some people requested it for some price which they just randomly taken, and they cannot accept this request. So something like token request on fixed price, or maybe fundraising on fixed price, is interesting. And as I see here, for fundraising marketplace, you need to have some collateral, right?
Yeah, it's a bonding curve based model as well.
So it's more like Uniswap, something like you provide liquidity or what?
No, it's closer to the Aragon fundraising bonding curve. Like it's a fork of that that implementation. So the liquidity is like injected at the beginning, but the unlike Uniswap, it's connected to the token supply, and not necessarily like possible to add additional liquidity as an outsider.
Okay. So what is the purpose for this collateral? I'm just trying to understand what is the use case.
Yeah. So the idea behind this style of kind of crowdfunding is that you have kind of guaranteed liquidity.
Okay, that's
yeah, tied to the token.
Okay.
Look, just a couple of seconds into my attention. Look, what are we looking for actually? We are here technical specialists which are evangelizing this technology to the masses. That's why we are very interested. Make it happen with you, with Aragon team as well, and trying to find out the way how to engage you as person in this process. We are ready for making it happen to our community because they are looking for making useful for them, not just on the fingers, not just only trying to make it happen, trying to make all of this situation understandable for them. That's why it looks like some education process. Look at this. Look at that moment as well.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you guys have a really like engaged and thriving community that like I really have zero visibility in, which is a shame because it seems like there's a lot going on there, and there isn't really like a strong kind of communication channel, and it would be great to be able to like incorporate all of your guys' feedback into Aragon's kind of like backlog and prioritization processes.
Yes, and this feature, everybody is saying that COVID is so bad, but it's not so bad because we can connect like right now and speak with you, and
Yeah.
Look, if you don't mind, just share with us your maybe Telegram or something else. It will be great to, now we are online as well. At this moment, a lot of people looking for us, and will be great to communicate you directly with them, if you don't mind.
Also, if it's okay, I can give a link on Dandelion Telegram chat. As I understand, it's public, so people can ask questions from you directly there. It's not very crowded yet. Maybe will be a little bit more crowded now, but it's okay. All people are very interested.
Yeah, definitely. That channel is public. Most of the like OneHive stuff happens on Keybase, so that's why there's a little bit less noise there. But we found that people have a hard time finding us on Keybase. So we're opening some Telegram channels specifically for things like Dandelion. And yeah, please do share, or I can grab it as well.
Yeah, I just sent it to Telegram chat of CIO community, and here it's also in chat the link to Dandelion public chat. So Dandelion, it's specific template which OneHive, it's company of Luke, develops for Aragon. You are working on Dandelion only, or you work on you work on many of apps, right? Most of apps are from OneHive or Aragon Black. It's 3 teams working for Aragon.
Yeah. So I'm actually also on the Aragon 1 team. But yeah, so I've got my hands a little bit everywhere, but OneHive as like an independent developer is 7 or so, maybe 8 Aragon apps. 6 of them I think have been released on mainnet and audited, and a few others, payroll and conviction voting, are kind of in the pipeline to be released soon.
Okay, good, perfect. Look, Is it possible to see your face? Just you can turn off your presentation now. Everything is understandable for us. I think all the people who get interested now can be connected via our Zoom link. It's public at this moment. Yes, it will be great to see with who we are talking about, because all the people are here sitting and collaborating, trying to find the answers on the question they are looking for. Yes, great. Now you're here. Yes. Look,
Hey guys.
Now, if you don't mind, just I think 10 or 15 minutes, just be with us, because people here have a lot of questions to you, maybe directly, or trying to discuss all of this. Now it's happened. Yes, Sergey, maybe a word for you. You're welcome. No. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Sergey.
Okay.
Well, actually, I don't have any questions right now because I'm trying to install Conviction app basically early morning. I would like to thank you for the quick introduction, and yes, I think we will have a bit of more questions to ask and to work more closely with Aragon and Prямое team.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, definitely send the questions for me. If you guys don't have questions, I'd love to hear a little bit more about the DAOs that you guys are working on, and like what they're up to.
So there are several DAOs. UniDAO you already know, and DAO CIO, it's DAO which is started by Sergey and several people here, Evgeny, and actually 2 Sergeys and Denis, and I also joined a little bit. And it's a kind of a little bit started like anti-crisis DAO, which gathers different startups from blockchain, but not only from blockchain, also different digital startups and so on. And they have a call every day and talk about possibilities to help during this COVID crisis for businesses. And this community started to organize itself as a DAO a couple of weeks ago. So now basically speakers which we invite, they get tokens in DAO, and we discuss different models for uniting competences and uniting community based on DAO. And now we are testing it in a company template, but we are likely to migrate to open enterprise for managing projects, having allocations, and swap knowledge and expertise through this DAO management. And in principle, Sergey is a very big fan of DAO for a long time. Since I remember 2017, he was talking about DAO MBA, actually.
Yes.
You heard something about DAO MBA?
He's quite right. You know, it's really the community of the competences. We have a lot of knowledge inside of us, and we are trying to evangelize that technology to the masses. I am public keynote speaker, and I'm mentor also as well in a huge amount of the projects of the companies. And we are now in this isolation, trying to share information which are ready to share with the people, with the community. I think it's a good way to be in collaboration with the people who's making this world much more better with implementing technologies. That's why we're here, and that's what we're spreading. It's around maybe in holiday. Now you
and actually one little thing, it's very important because we're just changing our experience and our knowledge between each other without money. So we use no money. We use only the DAO tokens that are not money right now. But anyway, so we're trying to help each other by using each other with no money.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a grassroots community coordination mechanism for sure.
Yes, you are right. It's collective intelligence opinion. It's mechanism which making collective mind, trying to help each other for the beginning and trying to help for the startups, for the businesses, for the project which are now in this difficult situation, and they are looking for the way how to make it happen in their business. Because in isolation, in this difficult situation, they don't see how this business may be evolved in the future, or how it can be, can be launched, can be stepped forward. I'm sorry for my English, maybe not the right words I'm using here in one of the sentences, but it's really, it's not my native language. That's why I'm trying to speak how I can. Luke, it will be great to see what's your opinion, maybe what's your vision how this evolution, how this DAO is evolutionary going forward, because we are now, we make it happen, it's today, but we are trying to understand what's the right vector, how to see it in near future.
Yeah, I'll definitely share my thoughts on this. I know there's lots of different like ideas and opinions out there in the DAO space, but I really see DAOs as ways for communities to kind of coordinate, and I'm really excited about the idea of community currencies. If you think about the ability for communities to kind of issue their own currency and use this as sort of a medium to like build social trust and networks among each other, that's kind of the basis for kind of exchanging value, even if it's like not financial or monetary value, but like you're turning social capital into potentially eventually financial capital as well. And I do not subscribe to the like idea that we're going to have like one dominant currency. I think the true like innovation with DAOs and blockchain in general is that the ability to harness digital scarcity and very low friction exchange is that you're going to see an explosion of these smaller communities taking advantage of these things to like bootstrap and grow value within kind of a local space. And this kind of mechanism of community currencies is something that's actually been studied for a long time in the context of like regional localities. So like cities and towns and even companies issuing script and that triggering like economic growth within that kind of microcosm can be applied to digital communities and online communities as more of these things kind of move into the like internet enabled realm, and we go more global and more like value aligned as opposed to just regional region specific kind of economies.
Yeah, for sure. You know, you are using the right words. It's community economy. It's not based on the fiat economy, or it's not based on economy which I know before, and now we're trying to make it somehow technically organized, because we people here technically skilled, and we are trying to tokenize our competencies somehow using DAO, using this decentralized autonomic organization, to trying to make it organized together, and based on our trust to each other, we're trying to organize that economical process for the beginning between us, and then spread it into masses, trying to show the people that it's already happened. It could be happened. That's why we're looking for that instruments as well. Good that you are today showing us the kind of new application called Marketplace. It's very good. It's very good option to enlarge it on Aragon as well.
Was it exclusive for us? So does the world know about the Marketplace, or it was exclusive information?
So I mean, everything that OneHive does is open source and public, but we haven't made any announcements about Marketplace yet, or even really talked about gardens. Like we haven't published any articles because we're still in kind of that testing phase, getting feedback, validating. So like everybody on our Keybase knows about it, and handful of people like Andre who I've talked to in kind of conversations know about it, but it's not like like I can't point you to an article or something that has been shared publicly about this yet.
So I mean, it's first time live, exclusively on DAO CIO, right?
Yeah.
Yes, really great. Yes,
premiere.
It's really good. You know, we have questions from Andre. You can be online. Just you can turn on your mic. Yeah, for sure. You have a question, just go on.
Yeah, well, I now understand these apps. So we were discussing with Luke mostly some updates about Dandelion. One I already talked about is sale at fixed price, and another is what I think it's quite important to be able to make token transferable in Dandelion app as well. I mean, of course, from command line, you can set up everything. You can combine different apps. But in principle, I think that, well, it's great that you have reproduced Moloch DAO functionality, but it will be also handy if you can go a little bit more far and make token transferable, because Moloch DAO is mostly intended for grant giving as a non-profit, and their tokens, they mostly have like reputation-like properties. But in our case, we can think more about selling, well, okay, basically we can call it securities, which can be traded. So selling tokens which can be traded at exchange, selling them at a fixed price, and have redemption and time lock options as well. So that's quite useful combination. I don't know if you have plans to have it some template like this, but I'm making now kind of perfect combination of different Aragon apps, which I think most of tokenized companies will need. And I think it's like combination of Dandelion and Open Enterprise. So like project management, dot voting, allocations, fundraising, redemptions, and time lock, and with some modifications like which I've mentioned before, fixed price sales and possibility to move tokens in principle. So that template looks like something perfect for me for all possible corporations on blockchain.
Nice. If you write that up, I'd love to review it.
Look,
yeah, and marketplace, we will take this link.
Yes, Andrei. Sorry, just no. I see the raised up hand. That's why I'm trying to let him to speak. Okay, now go on.
Yeah, so we will also discuss inside UniDAO. I see Ivan is here, who is Synoptic. It's our digital lawyer from UniDAO. We will discuss also these apps. Conviction voting, we were discussing quite a lot over last time. It's quite an advanced concept. Actually, I like it a lot because, for example, I have very often some proposals which I push forward like for half a year and constantly pushing. So it's like dedication, quite important, and prioritization. And we will study, of course, this proposals a lot. And yeah, it will be great to see these suggestions maybe about fundraising, which are very much anticipated in all communities. So basically, all people which are here have some sort of experience in 2017 ICOs, but the problem with ICO, which I think was the most, is absence of possibility for investors to control their funds. So in ICOs and EIOs, investors just gave their money to some people, and this provoked those people just to take their money and do nothing. And I say that quite often this killed even quite good projects. I was involved in a couple of projects which I think could do much better because of DAOs, and that's why I'm very much interested in DAOs. And in DAO, there is a great responsibility from team for the money of investor, because if team does something wrong, in Dandelion, especially in the Dandelion app, investors can make redemption anytime and just go out of the DAO. And I think this DAO, basically this DAO using fixed price sale, using this traded tokens and redemption and time lock, it fixes those problems which were in ICOs and opens an absolutely new era for corporations on blockchain and for public token sales and for just new types of corporation worldwide. So I think you're doing now the most important thing on earth for the future of the economy. Just it would be great to have some features requested by a community.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Luke, if you don't mind, yes, I want to let to speak. I see the hand from Taras Polyanik. Taras, word is going to you.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, for sure.
Sorry for no video, but my internet connection is not very good, so I'm trying not to fall out. Luke, I was wondering about cases and maybe examples of the grassroots, community currencies. Maybe there are some existing DAOs in the Aragon system which you can point out, because there's two different worlds. One world is a techies world and geeks world, right? The ICO world and all this stuff. And there's a common people world and they do not, collide yet. There's a big gap in Russia. I'm calling from Siberia, so I'm living near Lake Baikal, and the economy situation is devastating here. So people are looking forward for new solutions, for new instruments, but they don't know how to work with those solutions yet. So maybe you can point out some examples which can help us to get things more faster on a faster track. And the second part of the question, are you planning to go with the Russian version of the software?
Yeah, so what we're planning on doing, I guess I'll answer the latter part of that first, is we want to enable people to create custom interfaces on top of Aragon much more easily. We like going into the client, it is kind of difficult if you drop like a user that's not a technical user in, and there's like a list of different apps and they don't know where to go.
Right. Right.
We're working on improvements to the SDK right now, and there should be kind of more information about this in a couple weeks, with like some examples to play with, but make it really easy to get all of the information out from the organization like state, so that you can create a kind of custom interface for the specific flows, like the voting app, on top of that, and that makes translation and localization and like specialization for specific use cases way easier.
Cool.
And I think that will help a lot. To kind of the first question, there are a couple of DAOs. One Hive is an example that are kind of pursuing this, but I would say nothing that is kind of super active yet. The metagame community is kind of doing something similar as well in terms of trying to create a community currency. I think we'll see a lot more of it when Gardens kind of launches, because it kind of is trying to enable that type of use case. But in terms of like an example of like an active kind of community currency sort of idea, let me send a link to this project and how they're.
Luke, please share it here in this chat, in the Zoom chat.
Yeah. So this project here, Grassroots Economics, this is actually live. They're running on POA network, using Bancor-based bonding curves, and they've had quite a bit of success creating basically local community currencies in various different regions. And so like the basic mechanism with regard to kind of empowering people and especially non-technical people, I think is there in the tech, and we need to figure out how to distill the value proposition down, and then make it a little bit more accessible. Right now, like having somebody on board and need to go through an exchange and like set up a wallet and custody their own keys and do all of these things are big barriers to kind of your typical user. But those are exactly the users that we need to be able to onboard in order for them to really get the value of what we're building.
Right.
Great.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the idea of how to spread the word, and how you can build an argument to get people even to try these mechanics.
Yeah.
Right. So we tried a lot of different stuff, but people still have the association. When you talk about cryptocurrencies, people go always like Bitcoin, always like some kind of pyramid. It's some kind of spooky, crazy stuff with speculations, and nobody really sees the social impact behind the technology and philosophy behind the technology. So that's one of the challenges we are facing so far here. Well, thanks a lot. I will definitely look into it, and if you can keep us updated, maybe there's something will show up so we can use best practices. I would really appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I want to let you speak, Evgeny Turvinenko.
It's G again. So we're talking about here to help each other. So it's about the localization of your interface. So probably you can join us, some person who is in charge of the localization, and we have a lot of people just can translate. And actually, we have a special team of translators inside our team. So probably we could help Aragon from this side.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure exactly what the technical requirements on our end are to like enable like localization of the client, but I can look into it. And it definitely it seems like if people aren't able to like kind of interact in a familiar interface, it's a big barrier. And it seems like there's like it enable you guys to kind of use these things and spread it in your community much more effectively if there was localization.
Okay, now we are now really do it every day, but we are looking for any kind of assistance as well from your side, because you are the first person who I know about that for the first month. And now I'm looking for the next hand. Yes, for sure. Andrei Voronkov. I see, now for us connecting to another people which are professionals in this space, I want to let them also to speak. Andrei, word to you.
Luke. Oh, sorry, one moment.
Yeah. He connected via two devices. That's where echo is goes between them.
Yes, I'll switch off voice on one of them. One moment. One. Yeah. Okay. Now should work. So, Luke, I see that there are coming Aragon agreements. For Aragon Court, and can be used between DAOs and for different contracts of people with DAO. So, can you maybe comment a little bit on Aragon agreements? And there are many business owners here, and you can say a couple of words. How can this help to digital online business on blockchain?
Yeah, definitely. So agreements is trying to solve kind of an issue that we've seen in the DAO space and within Aragon, where like transactions are irreversible. So if you're allowing people to move funds or do something from your organization, and all you have is an Ethereum address to work with, the ability to seek recourse kind of needs to happen up front. And so agreements is designed to kind of allow you to provide sort of subjective constraints on like what an organization can or should do, what the like use of funds should be, and allow like anybody within that organization to raise a dispute if they see something happening that really shouldn't be happening or like violates the agreement. And like the key piece for me is that we wanted to introduce like minority protection for DAOs. So like if you have like an open community, you do a DICO and the community has sort of control over the funds, but you're like a minority stakeholder, you don't really have decisive control, and you want to be able to set certain expectations without necessarily having to rage quit and leave all that value on the table. And so we see agreements as kind of this essential piece to make like accountable crowdfunding and like open permissionless DAOs really feasible, and like make it so that you don't end up in kind of a similar state as like the ICO crisis, where like even though you give token holders governance, if you're not like a whale in that process, or if the team is the whale, you haven't really changed the dynamics enough. And agreements enables us to kind of really change those dynamics so that the team that's raising funds has to make a kind of credible commitment to like the purpose of those funds and all of those sorts of things. And even as like an individual person that has like one token, you have the same right to raise a dispute as anybody else.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. That's even additional level of protection for DAO members, which is much more fine-tuned to include a right of any single token holder, or maybe even if you have a part of a token.
yeah
0.1 token or 0.1 token, you can include a right of minority shareholders in the agreement, and you have you can make a very complex legal strategies, basically replacing many functions of the state inside of Aragon jurisdiction by these agreements. And as I understand, they are implemented as a smart
Andrei, please just be close to the mic. You are not hearing very clear. Please.
Okay, so good. So you hard code. You can basically all these agreements are smart contracts, right? Are realized from smart contracts. Is this correct?
Yeah. So the agreement pairs a like human readable document with a smart contract kind of like pattern. So like the agreement itself specifies like in plain text kind of what the subjective constraints are. It's not like directly encoded into a smart contract, but the smart contract handles collateral and like other sort of interactions with the like permissions of the organization, so that when like a dispute is raised, certain actions can happen and can't happen, and those are encoded in the smart contract.
That's fantastic. So you basically replace many functions of the state, and in my mind, what you are doing now and this Aragon agreements, it's how future, I don't know, international law will work, and how digital economy, digital jurisdictions will replace our current states. So I don't know. You're in the tip of the needle of the crypto revolution. That's what I can say.
Look, I see here in this room at least 4 programmers which are, in my opinion, ready for be somehow helpful for the Aragon platform, because I know you are, as programmers, maybe looking for good ones, and they are here with us. Yes, they are. We are trying to maybe somehow attract them for making that happen. Who I see: Alexei Vesnin, Artyom, Leonid Morozovsky. We can let you to speak. Just go ahead. Just raise your hands, maybe, and you are online and have a question to the Luke, maybe to someone else. Okay, I see. I see now, Denis. Maybe you are trying to speak us. Look, you are every day welcome here. Our virtual room is open. I know, maybe 24 hours a day. It's okay for us because we are trying to see the collaboration, and we are trying to attract new and advanced technologies in our daily lives. It's our goal. That's why we're here. That's why we're organizing these DAOs, this virtual organization as well. And now we're looking for good attention from your side. If you don't mind, yes, I am personally trying to invite you and to each and every event. Yes, it will be great. It will be great to understand that. Maybe now a couple of words to our customers, to our viewers. They have a lot of questions. Maybe don't come ahead. Maybe don't come here concerned on languages specifics at this moment. I think so, because English speakers in Russian community don't so much. It's our gap in language jurisdiction. But from your side, maybe you see, or maybe you are looking for any kind of specialist as well in our community. We are trying to be helpful for you as well. You are spreading your information, and we are to making it in reward.
Yeah, I mean, I have very little visibility into everything that you guys are doing, and it sounds like it's amazing stuff. So if you guys can be a bit of a bridge for me and like fill me in on what's going on there and keep me informed, that's super helpful. Because we want to make sure that we're prioritizing the most useful things. And you guys are power users, so.
Okay, I'm already, if you don't mind, yes, I have added you to our community chat. It calls CIO 2020 in Telegram chat. Yes, also we are connected via Discord. It will be, the link will be available soon. And now I see the raised hand by Evgeny.
Yeah, probably we could create the branch on our Discord for you to understand what's going on about. Because as we said, a lot of things happening around. So we're just uniting all guys who are harmed by the COVID, and we're trying to use all the power of community intelligence to solve the problem of this community. So of course we will be great to be in touch, and probably to help each other as well after this disaster as well, right?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Hey, Luke.
Yes,
Hey,
Andy,
Luke.
you're online.
It's Leo.
Leo.
Just hopping by to say hello. Nice to see you here.
Leo, is it possible to turn on the camera and go from the dark to our, yes, to the light? Is it possible or not? Yes,
Well, maybe,
Leo.
yeah.
Hey, Leah.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Busy, but doing well.
Okay. I wanted to ask something about the agreements thing.
Yeah.
You have it live on mainnet or not?
No, we're still working on the agreements integration with the client. But we should have a version that is kind of demoable and kind of showable on Rinkeby in the next few weeks. And I'll keep you posted if you're interested.
Yeah. Am I getting this clear that the Aragon agreements will be integrated with the Aragon court for dispute resolution?
Yeah. So the basic premise is that the agreements will define kind of human readable subjective constraints and have kind of a framework for proposing actions that are disputable. And if an action is proposed, you can raise a dispute. There's sort of a challenge response settlement option kind of game that happens before it goes into the court, because you want to try and resolve disputes as much as possible in a local environment. But then it goes into the court, and the court is live currently. And we're doing test runs through the dispute process while we work on agreements.
But do they have some kind of incentive design to incentivize the court to make a right decision and get incentive from the subjective agreement between DAOs?
Yeah. So the mechanism for jurors to kind of participate in the system is that when a dispute occurs, you get randomly drafted based on stake. So you have to put up the ANJ token as a proof of stake style token. And when you get selected as a juror and the initial dispute selects a small number of jurors, you have to commit your vote secretly and then reveal in a second step. And based on the consensus of the jurors, we get a provisional ruling. And if there isn't an appeal, that ruling kind of goes through, and the jurors that ruled in favor of the ruling that went through get rewarded with the dispute fees. And so you are incentivized to try and pick the ruling that is going to be the consensus ruling, even as a small group. And then it can escalate to a larger and larger number of jurors that have more and more at stake in that process. There's if you go to help.aragon.org, there's kind of an explanation of the court mechanics and kind of the incentive system there.
Yeah, I got it. But is this NJ token connected with the incentive of the DAO itself? So if we're raising a dispute between DAOs, should we have some stake in ANG to make a raise in the dispute resolution or not?
You as a DAO do not need to have ANJ, but you have to pay kind of dispute fees into the court. And so the relationship between users of the court and the jurors that hold ANJ is that the users of the court don't have to use the court forever. They can go and find alternative dispute resolution protocols, or people can fork the court and create a different instance. The kind of incentive there is for jurors to provide a good service that people kind of come back and continue to use and see as reliable.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, thanks for explanation. Yeah, looking forward to see that.
Yeah, me too. I'm very excited. we're going to be using it in the Gardens template as well for kind of community moderation and kind of bounding each instance of that template to a specific goal.
Yeah, cool, thanks. Okay, see you soon. I'm leaving now. Thanks.
Yeah, I actually have to hop off as well. I've got another call now.
Okay, Luke, we are very glad to see you again here. The link is the same. Yes, you are very welcome in our community. Thanks for your time. Thank you, Andrei, for inviting Luke here. We are very excited to be with you today, and you are extremely welcome in our community.
Nice. Thank you guys so much. This is awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.